when I was 10 years old, I can distinctly remembering watching a movie with my mom. I don't quite remember the movie, but I remember a scene in the movie. It was when the mother was giving birth. In the hospital scene, it's a frantic one. There's many doctors running around. And the woman was in pain, obviously. She was in labor pains and groaning as she's giving birth. And I remember looking at my mom and saying, "Mommy, I'm glad I'm not a woman." But then I followed it up with, "Mom, did that happen when I was born?" Again, this is me 10 years old. And she said, "Yes, that's almost exactly how it happened." And then I asked, "Mommy, was it worth it?" And she said, yes, it was. Today we hear in the second reading about a struggle, about groaning. Paul uses that word, and he uses the analogy of giving birth, this great expectation to what awaits us, our salvation. But how in the midst, as we wait for it, we struggle. We groan and we labor, including all of creation, not just us. We await something, but we struggle, and Christianity is a faith that commemorates the struggle. But not us struggling for salvation. No, our faith is a commemoration of God's struggle for us. Christianity is the commemoration of God's struggle for you and for me, and how God will not be stopped. For from the very beginning of creation to the Lord's coming in the flesh, it's all a story about God's struggling for our salvation. Time and time again, each prophet, king, comes to bring good news about how God wants us to be close to Him, and even sin can't get in the way. And even when the Israelites fall away, God still tries, He still struggles. And it's the high point of this. We celebrate each and every Mass, where on this altar is made present the mystery of the cross, the mystery of the passion, death, and resurrection, the high point of the struggle, where God breaks the bonds of death, shatters the wall that separates you and I from Him, and promises us the glory that awaits us. God struggles for us, and He will not be stopped. And so Paul acknowledges this, but he also acknowledges that there's still a struggle, that right now it's on our part. We are still struggling, and the very masks that you wear are a sign that life is still very much a struggle. There's no denying that. That even though He has won the victory, there's still a playing out of that victory. The end game, the glory that awaits us, is still yet to be revealed. So like a mother who is carrying a child, who is carrying, and mothers all know, like the 9 months of the struggle in carrying a child, that there's an eager expectation for when you give birth. And so we are eagerly awaiting, in the midst of the struggle, the glory that awaits us. So how do we enter into the struggle? Well, there's two extremes. There's two different types of groaning, as we hear in the second reading. The first groaning is this groan of a lack of effort. I'm not going to enter into this struggle. It's too hard. And then the other extreme is this lack of docility. I'm going to do it on my own, my way. And both ways, there's a lack of understanding, of acknowledging that God's with you in the struggle, and a lack of the receptivity to grace. Because God's constantly wanting to give us help, His grace in the sacraments, in daily prayer, in all our good deeds. He's desiring to work with us to carry our cross. All He asks for us is to listen. Because we can't cooperate with His grace unless we listen to how He's working with us. We're paying attention to the way He's walking with us and responding in the most appropriate way. That's what Mary does. Mary's able to listen and then respond in the most appropriate way. So ask for the grace that you're going to receive in Holy Communion or in spiritual communion, the grace to be able to receive that grace and then respond appropriately. Yes, you do have your free will, but God is bringing His grace in the midst of your own struggle, whatever it may be. And that Eucharist is that seed that God plants into your heart, and all He asks is for fertile soil, for an open heart. Ask for the grace to receive and then respond, and so struggle with the Lord for the glory that awaits you. Because God indeed struggles with you and for you, and He will not be stopped. And just like my mother told me, so He desires to tell you, for you, it is totally worth it.